Hi, welcome to Sumery P. Today I'm going to share how to make spelt focaccia. That's right, a focaccia bread with spelt flour. So I'm going to use white spelt flour. The one I buy here in the UK is quite high in protein. It's 14.3 and it's from a UK brand called Craig's & Co. I'm not being sponsored by them, but I just love their flour. So into my KitchenAid, I'm going to put 500 grams of flour. And if you don't have a mixer, you can just do it by hand or with a wooden spoon, just in a large bowl. And we're going to add 2 teaspoons of salt, that's just fine salt. And in this jug here, I've got my water already prepared and it's warm to touch. And that's 350 mils. And into that, I'm just using this instant yeast. So it's fast action dried yeast and it's one 7-gram packet. So I'm just going to dissolve that in this water just to help it along. Then we start mixing it and pouring this in. It's so simple and I think it's probably the quickest bread, homemade bread I've ever made. So we need this for about 8 to 10 minutes. I'm just going to put my timer on. And while that's mixing, I'm just going to drizzle some olive oil. So it's about 2 tablespoons. So it's just a generous drizzle. That just helps it keep really hydrated. And what we're aiming to do, we want the dough to look like an elastic band. So it's really rubbery and stringy and the bowl will start looking clean. So it's been kneading for about 8 minutes and look at that, it's super stringy. It's like so elastic, like a rubber band. Grab your breadboard, place some flour. And you can either flour your hands or use some olive oil. I'm going to grab this dough out and move that dough hook off. So it's a really stretchy dough. Just going to add a little bit of flour to the top. I'm just going to let that sit there, but I'm going to turn the bowl upside down. Instead of using plastic wrap or a cloth or anything, and I'll sit that for 40 minutes, which is called the first proof or arrest. And this kitchen's quite warm, so it should double in size in that time. I'll go away and wash my hands. So we're back with our dough and it's doubled in size and it's growing out of this bowl. So the next step is to get it off this and put it onto my baking tray. So I don't have a lot of options for baking a focaccia, but I did it in my cookie tray, which has got like a little side on to it. And it turned out perfectly for this 500 grams of flour, is to add a little bit of semolina flour or polenta grain to the base of the tin. And then we lift all that up and plonk it on there. So let me just, actually I'm gonna oil my hands. I find that that's easier for me because then the dough just kind of slides off your hands. So grab a bit of olive oil and it's like moisturizing your hands at the same time. And then we're going to shape this so it reaches kind of all the corners, if you can. And it will relax a little bit more into those corners when we do the second rise. So now I'm going to generously drizzle olive oil on top. And this is the fun part, we just poke it with our fingers and that makes the dimples. So you just generously poke it. Now we need to let that sit covered for another 40 minutes. So I'm going to grab a cloth out. So I'm going to cover this. And this is called the second proof and it'll double in size. Not double in size, but it'll rise again. So I'll set my timer for 40. And in the meantime, pop your oven on to 200 degrees C fan or 400 Fahrenheit. So then it will be nice and hot, ready to bake the bread. So we're back with our focaccia and you can tell it's ready because I'm sticking my knuckle in and the dough's not springing back. So I'll just give it a few more little, I'm just doing this because I don't want to get my whole hand dirty. And it's almost all in the corners. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And now I've got some Malden flaked sea salt. I'm just going to crunch that on top. Now, if you wanted to be fancy and do olives or tomatoes or potato, feel free, but we're going to have this with homemade soup tonight, so I just want it plain. So generous amount of salt. Now it's all ready and we bake it for about 20 to 25 minutes. I'll keep an eye on it because we just want it to be golden brown and lovely and fluffy, but not overcooked. So I'm going to pop it in. I can't wait to show you the bread. So it's been 20 minutes and I've just got my focaccia out of the oven. Of course, sounds hollow, it's crispy and it's golden and it looks divine. I'm just going to drizzle more olive oil on. This is not necessary, but just a little bit more. And I'm going to let it sit here for about 10 minutes before I turn it out of the tin. Don't be tempted to try and eat it straight away. It just needs to cool slightly. So we'll just let it rest and do its thing for about 10 minutes. So here we have it. This is our spelt focaccia, all cooled. Look at that. Doesn't it look delicious? It's like crispy on the edge, but spongy. Because I do mine on a baking tray, it's a lot thinner than some other focaccias, but we like it like this. So if you wanted it fatter, do it on a smaller tin. And a few tips, make sure you grease your tray properly. I should have oiled it first and then added some of the semolina or polenta, which I forgot to do, and my bread got a little bit stuck. And the other tip is make sure that your cloth that you cover your dough is damp, which today, I don't know why, I just forgot to moisten it. So let me know if you like this video, hit the thumbs up. And if you're new here today, please consider subscribing. All you need is a Google account and then hit subscribe, and don't forget, hit the bell, and then you get notified when I have a new video. And pop a comment below if you've got a favorite focaccia recipe, and let me know if you try this one. Share it with a friend. I'll pop a few other videos up above that you might want to check out for some other bread recipes using spelt flour. Before we go, I'll do the taste test. It's cooled down. It's more delicious when it's warm, but it still tastes good. It's so light for a spelt flour. I can't wait to eat this tonight. And if you want to just heat it up a little bit, you can pop it in your toaster. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye.